Let's get started on the Enchanting Danube on Uniworld's beautiful Maria Theresa with BROOK HOLLOW Winery on July 31st, 2022. First, before we even start the fabulous itinerary, let me recommend to you a pre-cruise optional land tour package in Prague. This optional tour is a 2-night stay. The price per person for this pre-cruise optional land tour is $1,289 per person. It includes hotel and breakfast each morning along with fun touring. So instead of flying out on July 30th, we would fly out on Thursday, July 28th and arrive in the morning. Our Uniworld representative waits for us to arrive at the airport and transfers us to our hotel. After check-in, there's time to hit the ground running or maybe relax at an afternoon cafe, dining al fresco for lunch, walking the cobble streets, and maybe thinking about where we'll be dining for dinner, all within walking distance to our centrally located hotel. Prague is very walkable from Old Town Square. Anywhere interesting you can walk to in 30 minutes or take a horse and buggy or taxi. Uniworld has their own buses, which are large luxury buses. They use local tour guides who are extremely knowledgeable. Uniworld uses wireless intercom systems on their closed circuit, so you can listen to your guide as you walk through towns and museums and churches, etc. Visiting the City of Spires is a perfect way to begin your enchanting cruise. Prague has been the center of the arts, commerce, and politics for thousands of years, and it offers a stunning array of medieval, Baroque, and modern art and architecture. Prague Old Town and Charles Bridge is walking distance and an excellent place to tour. The hotel is in the middle of the shopping and dining and pubs area. Do people speak English in Prague? Waiters in tourist spots do. At the hotel desk? They do. People under 25 do. Police officers don't. Neither do grandmothers. The country is home to more than 100 breweries. Don't be surprised if you drink more beer than usual. Because of less carbonation, you feel less bloated. This enables you to have one beer after another all night long. I'm sure after a few beer tastings, you'll discover for yourself what makes the Czechs beer some of the best beer in the world. One thing I think you should know is how to order a beer in Prague. So, if you're ordering one beer, say Jedno Pivo. Or, if you're ordering 5 beers, it's a pet peeve. After our 3 days in Prague of touring and fun, we transfer to our floating luxury museum in Passau, Germany, where the SS Maria Theresa is waiting for us. After meeting others that elected to fly in on day 1, they fly into Munich. Uniworld will transfer those folks to the ship from the airport. Everyone will have time to explore Passau that night and on day 1. The next morning after breakfast, we have optional tours to choose from in Passau. Passau is known for the city of 3 rivers. Join a walking tour if you prefer, or a more active hike high in the hills to visit the Passau Castle. Or, how about biking along one of the rivers? See the world's largest pikeborgen. The town is easy to get around. Day 3, Linz, Austria. The ship arrives in Linz. That's Mozart's birthplace, nestled in a glorious alpine setting where you'll have several choices of excursions. Up for a full-day excursion to Salzburg, where you'll tour the historic center city. En route to Salzburg, stopped at the famed Basilica St. Michael's. This is the iconic wedding scene site for The Sound of Music. Alternatively, you can join a morning walking tour through Linz Old City Center and go by Mozart's house. Some folks might opt to go for a guided bike tour along the Danube and Cultural Mile. Some folks will opt for the Make Travel Matter option. Linz Town and the Country Linzer Tort and Cider Farm visit. I have actually done this before. Get to know Linz on foot with a local expert who will take you by the major sites in town, from Mozart's apartment to the old Jesuit cathedral. You'll stop for a bite at, let me try to get this right, Konditorte die Gindrake Bakery, home of the original Linzer Tort. Enjoy a cup of coffee alongside this thin, buttery pastry made with ground nuts, filled with fruit preserves and topped with lettuce. Yum! Next, the group will split into two, each half heading out to the countryside cider farms. There you will be treated to lunch of local specialties and house-made ciders, an excellent way to immerse yourself in the rural Austrian life and scenery while supporting local farms. Both farms are entirely organic and give special care to the quality of the ingredients they produce, from careful cultivation of their bountiful orchards and livestock. Day 4, Melk and Dürnstein. You will wake up docked in front of the 900-year-old Melk Abbey and its extraordinary Baroque-style library and museum. After we tour this glowing abbey, it's right back on to the Maria Theresa to get ready to cruise through the beautiful vineyards of the Wachau Valley. They'll be on both sides of the Danube as we cruise through. I recommend grabbing a glass or a bottle of wine because this is your chance to relax. The ship then docks in the late afternoon in Dürnstein, where you can just easily walk the cobblestone streets and look through the quaint shops, or hike up to the fortress where Richard the Lionheart was once held captive. You can take a bike ride along the Danube and through the Wachau Valley. Enjoy a special wine tasting of local grown, world-renowned Riesling and Grütner Veltliner. There are 2 travel options. You can also opt to learn about the world's costliest spice from the Wachau Valley, saffron. Our group has an included Dürnstein wine estate visit with tasting. There's no better way to conclude our visit to the Wachau Valley than with a special tasting of organic wines at Nikolaihoff's, perhaps the oldest winery in Austria. The location itself is fascinating. One may encounter remnants of the first buildings on the site, an ancient Roman fortress. The taste of wine in the 15th century chapel, outstanding. Owned by the Sauce family, Nikolaihoff produces some of the world's best Riesling and Veltliners. In fact, the 1995 Riesling, bottled in 2012, actually scored 100 points in the Wine Advocate, the first Austrian wine ever to rank that highly. It is one of the first wineries in the world to produce biodynamically certified wine. No herbicides, fertilizers, pesticides, or synthetic sprays are used in this vineyard. The grapes are harvested by hand, fermented without artificial yeast, and stored in the Austrian oak casks for up to 20 years. After our winery visit, there's still time to discover Dürnstein and stroll the streets, or even say hello to Richard up in the castle. Considering the small size of Dürnstein, it has a lot to offer. Day 5, Vienna, Austria. Vienna is a cultural treasure trove, revered for its art and music and sinfully rich pastries. Experience the City of Waltzes with your choice of tours, as well as an expertly led tour of the extraordinary collection of art at the renowned Vienna Art History Museum. The doors open early, especially for us to join the art historian for a private. I have to admit, I'm not big on museums, but this one will stick in my head forever. It was beautiful and plush, and as you're listening to the commentary and viewing the art, you can actually sit down on one of their beautiful couches. After the museum, we walked around town a little and sampled some of the sausages and delis and bakeries around town. We even stopped into St. Stephen's Cathedral, which was beautiful, had a glass of wine. You could return back to the ship for lunch or just dine around for lunch al fresco in town. Some folks might opt to do Vienna's Music and Composers Walking Tour. This is a tour through musical history, starting with the present-day artists, keeping the legacy alive, which is kind of cool because they start with computer music, and you get to observe composers at work. You'll visit the residence of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's house and eat in the bakery that he ate at. How cool is that? Right outside the Jewish War Memorial. After dinner on the ship, we all transfer to a private Mozart and Strauss concert. Vienna is linked to music, and so many great composers lived and worked here, from Beethoven, Mozart, Strauss, Schubert, to name a few. And the list goes on, and it's glorious. Enjoy an evening of chamber music performed by some of Vienna's world-class professionals in a historic and intimate concert venue. Day 6, Bratislava, Slovakia. The ship sets sail from Vienna and heads to Bratislava today. You may relax on board all day, perhaps enjoying a drink on the sun deck and taking in the scenery as the ship winds its way down along the Austrian Danube to Bratislava. Bratislava's Old Town, which blends Gothic, Baroque, and Art Deco structures with some less graceful reminders of the communist era. Take some time after the tour to browse through the attractive shops in the lively Art Deco buildings that line the squares. You can find a wide selection of traditional folk items everywhere, or check out the Slovak folk culture shop, and you'll definitely want to sample some of the local delicacies. Let's go hiking! You can hike up to the Bratislava Castle. This brilliantly white, enormous square building takes over the skyline of Bratislava, and from the ground, you'll find incredible views of the city. I especially love this area. Both grandparents on both my parents' sides were from 8 miles apart from each other in this area. I also did Ancestry.com and found out I was correct. My father's side, VAJDA, his last name is King of the Gypsies, and my mother's maiden name, Rushnok, was right next to the Danube River. Passing through the historic town, you'll see the charming house of the Good Shepherd, the sewer worker leaning out of the manhole. Make sure you go and rub his head, and don't forget to check out that spooky UFO bridge. You'll see what I'm talking about when you see it. Day 7, Budapest. You'll visit both sides of Budapest, Buda, hilly, and Pest, flat sides of the Danube. You'll see the 19th century chain bridge, which connects the Buda district with the Pest. Take the Budapest panoramic highlights with opera tour visit. Enjoy a panoramic drive by the neo-Renaissance buildings and passing Hero Square and the House of Terror Museum, City Park, and of course the Castle District. You will get to see the old hidden villas and embassies of the Jewish district before stepping off the bus and heading on to the Opera House. The building's architecture alone is worth a visit. Its gilded ceilings and marble columns making the interior even more striking than its beautiful facade. It's also famous for its great acoustics, which you will get to appreciate during a private concert. You can choose to dine on the ship tonight or dine at a local restaurant. On day 8, after breakfast, we board our coaches to the airport and get ready for our flight back to the United States. For those that would like to extend their stay for an extra 2 nights at the Kabinski Hotel in Budapest, it includes breakfast daily and all service charges, some walking tours, and the Rock Hospital with a English-speaking expert, and all transfers to the airport. The price is $1,059 per person. I'd like to share a few helpful hints about traveling in Europe. Look up at green walking signs. Watch for bike lanes. Also watch for trams and trains. Don't assume you have the right of way. The bikes, trains, and trams do. Wear comfortable shoes when touring. Most towns have cobblestone streets. Thank you for listening.